Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're in HR, you already know the day-to-day reality. You're dealing with dozens of disconnected systems, totally isolated tasks, and this constant, exhausting context switching just to get your job done. Well, today we're exploring a massive paradigm shift that is completely changing the game. We are moving away from all those fragmented functions and stepping right into a unified AI-powered ecosystem. So, if you want to understand exactly how the future of work is being built right now, you are definitely in the right place.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover breaking down HR silos, orchestrating the employee lifecycle, global scale and ethical governance, and finally, the human-AI collaboration. Let's jump right in.
All right, Section 1, Breaking Down HR Silos.
Traditionally, HR relies heavily on fragmented tools. Just think about your own workflow for a second. You probably have one archaic login for compensation, a completely different software suite for compliance, and somewhere in the background, a notoriously messy spreadsheet desperately trying to hold your workforce planning together. It's totally disjointed. But in an AI-enabled setup, all these isolated tools finally converge. AI creates this single, orchestrated framework where all these functions actually speak to one another. Information from recruitment feeds directly into performance, which then feeds right into compensation. It basically takes everything HR handles and turns it into one living, breathing system.
Moving on to Section 2, Orchestrating the employee lifecycle.
So, instead of these isolated one-off events, the employee lifecycle becomes a continuous, seamless journey. Picture this. A candidate's specific technical and soft skills are actively mapped during the attraction and onboarding phase. Then, in this orchestrated model, those exact skills automatically populate their personalized development plan during performance and engagement. And based on how they progress, the system can automatically flag them as high potential for leadership when it comes to succession. The AI is literally learning and adapting to the individual over time, which completely removes those clumsy manual handoffs we're also used to.
And here is where it gets really powerful. When you seamlessly connect all those lifecycle steps together, the system naturally spins up these unified analytics dashboards. They consolidate data across the entire timeline, giving leaders a truly panoramic view of workforce health and performance. Just imagine finally having a comprehensive, real-time picture of your organization's talent pulse. That's something that was practically impossible to achieve when your data was locked away in dozens of siloed vendor platforms.
Now, with this panoramic view, you unlock some entirely new capabilities. First off, strategic foresight modeling means you aren't just reacting and filling open roles anymore, you're actually aligning your talent acquisition directly with your company's long-term business transformation goals. Secondly, by embedding continuous improvement pipelines, the system actively learns from its own data through iterative feedback loops. And this is what gives an organization true resilience. You're no longer just putting out daily HR fires, you've got an intelligent framework that predicts bottlenecks and adapts way before they become widespread issues.
Which brings us to Section 3, Global Scale and Ethical Governance.
If you're running an expansive company, you know firsthand that navigating different labor laws and cultural norms across borders is an absolute logistical nightmare. Well, that's exactly where global ecosystem integration steps in to harmonize these incredibly diverse multinational operations. In practice, this means your unified HR framework can automatically adapt to strict local compliance laws in, say, Germany, while simultaneously maintaining the exact same core performance metrics you use for your teams in Japan, and it's all managed under one cohesive, intelligent umbrella.
But listen, you absolutely cannot just hand over the keys to this massive global orchestration without ethical AI governance. That's non-negotiable. When an algorithm is deeply involved in processes that span all the way from initial hiring to exit management, governance acts as your essential safeguard. It ensures the system doesn't accidentally scale historical human biases, and it demands absolute fairness, transparency, and accountability at every single stage. It's there to keep the framework objective, ensuring this incredibly powerful technology operates equitably across the entire global workforce.
And finally, Section 4, the human-AI collaboration. As the research points out, and I really love this phrasing, AI essentially becomes the master project manager of HR, ensuring that human resource practices are not fragmented but unified. By orchestrating all these interconnected elements behind the scenes, the AI acts as the central engine. It does the heavy lifting of data consolidation and process flow, constantly delivering the foresight and alignment you need to keep the entire workforce framework strategic and highly adaptive.
Now,
Seeing AI step into the driver's seat like this naturally forces us to ask a pretty critical question about the future, right? If AI is the master project manager, what actually happens to the HR professional? Do we just become obsolete? Well, the answer is a massive, resounding no. In fact, this model completely redefines your role for the better. You transform from a manual administrator buried in paperwork into what's called the evolved HR professional. While the AI is busy handling complex process flows and consolidating data, you become the crucial interpreter of those insights. The AI might accurately flag a subtle retention risk in a specific department, sure, but you are the architect of organizational culture, who actually steps in to empathize, strategize, and make the highly nuanced human decisions that technology simply cannot replicate.
It really is a thrilling vision for the future of work. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on as you evaluate your own teams. Is your organization actually ready to transform HR from a series of fragmented tasks into a strategic AI-orchestrated ecosystem? Are you prepared to step up as the architect of your organization's culture? Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this gave you a powerful new perspective on where HR is heading next.